So it's incumbent upon us as builders to learn and do better to make sure that when we're building a house and we're taking someone's life savings, that we're going to be good stewards of that.
G'day guys, welcome back to another episode of the Build Insite Podcast. This is episode 36, part 2 of the continuation of a chat with Matt Reisinger. If you did miss part 1, highly recommend that you head back and listen to that one first. Otherwise, enjoy the episode. Matt, let's talk about the growth in building science in the US. How have you seen, I guess, the knowledge on building science evolve? I guess over your career, like the shift towards airtightness, water management, insulation, and I guess navigating that from the role of a builder or an architect in implementing these changes. How education plays such a crucial role in actually making sure that that people know what they're building.
Yeah, it's a good question, Luke. I mean, I would say that my journey has been mainly through failures and problems and trying to avoid those and correcting mistakes and going, gosh, that was really painful. I don't want to put my hand on the hot stove again anymore. So for me, it's been a lot of failures and a lot of like, okay, if this happened, let's make sure that doesn't happen again. But I think other builders have had those problems. I mean, there's a lot of lawsuits going on in America. I would tell you incidentally that my construction attorney has said that they're so busy at their firm and all they do is represent builders that they're not able to take on any new clients. And this is the busiest he's ever seen it in his 20 years of being a lawyer. So there's just a lot of lawsuits. And, when things go south in America, the first thing people want to do is get a lawyer. And it's really unfortunate because we're playing with hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. And when we make a mistake, it's extremely hard to correct without people's lives and their bank accounts and a lot of things getting potentially ruined or drained. So, we have to take this business seriously. This is not a business where, like if I get a bad haircut, I'm gonna suffer for 3 weeks, but then I can come back and get a free haircut to make up for it, right? I mean, we make a mistake in a foundation waterproofing or in a window install or something that's big, and people have a problem. They have sick kids, they have mold growth, they have water intrusion. We have to take this seriously. We really need to act like professionals, and professionals in other industries, like my wife's a physician, she has to be recertified on a regular basis. She has to take a certain number of hours every year of continuing education. And, as builders, at least in Texas, we don't have to do that. We don't have any licensure in Texas. We do in some other states. The Massachusetts builders do have to get 40 hours a year of continuing education. But we don't here in Texas. So it's incumbent upon us as builders to learn and do better to make sure that when we're building a house and we're taking someone's life savings, that we're going to be good stewards of that.
Yeah, there's a huge misunderstanding of the risk a builder undertakes, isn't there?
For sure. And I don't know about you guys, but my builder's risk or my builder's general liability insurance is very, very expensive. Mine is almost $100,000 a year.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, we pay more of a single policy. So we've got our insurance to cover, we'll say a single policy. So each project will, you take out your own policy. But yeah, we've seen that escalate here, Matt, a lot. There's been a lot of claims over the years. Through the COVID period, there was a lot of liquidations through building companies when prices went up and builders might have been locked in the contracts. And yeah, it's been a lot of suffering within the industry, which has brought a lot of awareness and probably almost brought a worse name to the building industry here because of that reason. I know we have like our application forms that clients will do questionnaires, and one of the questions we do ask is, do you have any concerns going into your build journey? And quite often, I reckon 90% of the time, I'm worried my builder's going to go broke. So, that's one thing we like talking about, that we're big on collaboration, obviously through that design. And Probably leading into the next question, mate, is there some key things in your journey that you've found has been really successful working with your clients and projects you've been involved with working your architect teams, design teams, and creating that journey?
Yeah, I mean, for us, Dean, I don't know what you guys do. It's pretty common in America to see builders get selected on price, where an architect will finish a set of plans and they'll take it out to bid, is what is kind of the phrase we use in America, and they'll often solicit 3 builders to give them a price on the project, and we've just totally gotten away from that. We don't do that anymore. When we have a client who's interested in working with us, we'll interview with them, and then we'll give them what we call our Ricing roadmap, which is like, here's our fees, here's what it looks like to work with us, here's our cost plus contract, and we would love to help you through the process of designing that. We don't do any design in-house, so we're going to estimate through the entire process with you to help make sure that we're designing something that fits within your budget expectations. And also, we can be your expert to make sure that we're being able to build this very well for you at the same time. So we ask for a deposit, and we engage in a pre-construction services agreement. And boy, that makes all the difference in getting to a successful project. I mean, the projects that I did in the past prior to doing that were extremely tough projects. And these days we're continuing that dating relationship, so to speak, that interview process to really get to know each other and make sure this is the right fit for, usually several months prior to starting construction. And now we've got a client who really trusts us, who really understands what the costs are going to be. And when we sign that contract, we're usually pretty excited. Everyone's pretty excited about the process.
Yeah, we can definitely both vouch for that, Matt. We do pretty involved pre-construction processes ourselves, and it is just a proven process that you build that relationship. The builder is able to be across all of not only the inclusion, the plans, they've been involved, not obviously driving the design, but being able to understand why things might be implemented, or why the orientation, or why this has been designed in that way, to actually ensure that everything's being priced correctly. Spend the time with your trades and making sure that all the numbers are on there. There's no guesswork. It's all ironed out. So exactly like you said, it's a real hype about it when the job finally gets to site. Everyone's going in with so much confidence.
There's a lot of educating in that process that you miss out on if you're tendering or bidding with an architect process, Matt, because we talk building science and the components of building science, but what makes up your proposal and your costings at the end of the day to build that project, it's not understood by a majority of the general public who have no experience. But mate, I'd love to know, we talk building science and the components of it, obviously the different elements of it, and all in all, we want a durable home. But is there one element of building science that really excites you and I suppose you lean to the most for inspiration and learning more? Like, water is our biggest problem, and that's a big part of water management. But yeah.
I think something that's been fun for me, Dean. I built my own house. I'm in my house right now in 2000. I guess I finished in 2021, so I finished 4 years ago. And I thought about, and even built a lot of good houses for other people, but I never lived in a well-built house before until I built this one for my family. And, one of the things that's been really interesting to me has been kind of putting the theory in practice. For instance, right above my head, I don't know if you can see that white register on the ceiling there. That's my fresh air system that runs 24/7 in this house. It's connected to a Zender ERV. And I've thought about that a lot, and I put some lesser systems in clients' houses over the years, but this house that I'm in now was the very first time I put a true Zender ERV in that has its own fresh air piping system, that has its own filtration system, and kind of using my own house as a guinea pig has been a lot of fun, and I've gotten a lot of insights. And also, it's a little scary. Like, I realize how dirty that filter is on that incoming air, such that I actually had to add a pre-filter on my ERV because the little filter that's in my ERV was getting like black after just a couple of weeks of being in there. And I realized, oh my gosh, I lived across the street at another house, and I had a pretty leaky house. I had no fresh air system. My lungs were that filter on that house, right? And now I've got this really thick pre-filter. And this guy I've had in the podcast, Sean Harris, who's really an expert in indoor air quality, came over one time early on when I lived in the house, and I was like, Sean, I'm really shocked this is getting so black. And he said, well, Matt, you live next to this highway called Mopac, where there's tons of cars, tons of traffic, a lot of stop and start, a lot of braking. I suspect that's brake dust on your incoming air filter. And it was one of those like, oh my gosh, wow. Like, yeah, I live in the city and I live probably 100 some yards from a massive highway. That would make sense that is brake dust. And I'm so thankful now that I have a filter to filter out the highway brake dust instead of that going directly into my lungs. So that's one of those things, Dean, that I was like, all right, this is where the rubber meets the road for me. Like if I do really care about health and wellness, and I'm going to eat good foods, why wouldn't I also care about the other fluid that I put in my body, which is air? I mean, you only eat 2 or 3 pounds of liquid and food over the course of a day, but you breathe in 30 pounds of air over the course of a day. And so if we're going to pay attention to what we put in our food, in our diet, and eating whole foods, why wouldn't we also care about our indoor air quality? And having that in my house is, I think, made a really big difference.
We're putting the Zender into projects, and I'm a bit the same at the moment, Matt. Have yet to start my own project for my family. And yeah, you walk into a client's finished project, small little story. We just finished a project earlier this year that handed over, and recently went in to check in with a client, and freezing cold here, and he's wearing board shorts and in the cold weather, and the air quality is fine there. And we live close to a dirt road on acreage, and a lot of that traffic driving past, getting dust blowing in. It's definitely a massive part of it, Matt. So enjoy that space, mate. Is that the home that you've done recent years where you've got the mechanical, is it the attic by memory, you did some content on?
Yeah, I've done a bunch in this attic. This is I've kind of called this series The Real Rebuild, so you can check it out on thebuildshow.com or YouTube. I've done a ton of videos in this house, and then I just finished one up the street from here that I did my wrap-up video series on, called the Reisinger Build, and my clients just moved into that about 2 weeks ago. So that was another fun one.
Dino, so I rocked up to site last week, got scratch bench tops, paint all over the windows.
Let me guess, Lukey. No good?
No good. And now we're spending big bucks trying to fix it.
Mate, Goop Guys roll on a thick, peelable protective coating that saves your surfaces.
And your budget.
And your sanity, Lukey.
Seriously, check them out. goopguys.com.au. Protect your job from the start. Matt, talk us through. I'm curious to know what a day-to-day looks like for you now, because obviously the Build Show network has grown quite large. Oh, well, yeah, I guess leading into that as well. Did you ever expect that it would get that big? Like, you're obviously still building as well. How do you balance between Rising a Build and the Build Show network?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, Luke, I've got a business partner on the building company that really manages most of the day-to-day. Tim is his name. He's in his 60s. He's been building for 40 years in Austin. Just a terrific guy. He's been building with me for about 15 years now. And we partnered up 7 or 8 years ago, and he owns half the company. So he really runs the day-to-day. And then another guy that you may know from Instagram, Glauser Build, Daniel Glauser, he's my executive project manager. So he's my head. He's basically my VP of construction. So I'm going to pick him up tomorrow morning, and we're going to go check out this concrete pour and this job we got going on. But I'm just there to shake hands and kiss babies and say hi to the clients and take some Instagram photos. Like, I'm not really worried about whether the pour is going to go well. That's not my job. I'll let those guys worry about it. But I'm there as a moral support, and also, my crew is always like, hey, I got this thing coming up that I'm not sure how to do this or that. What should I do? Or, hey, I saw that you made this video about this a couple years ago. Should we use that here? I was thinking we were going to use product A, but should we use product B? And I'll be like, no, actually, I think we should stick with product A. I think I was too excited about B, and I'm not sure that it's going to be as good as we think it's going to be. So I get to do all the fun stuff, but I don't have to tell the clients that they're over budget or that the house they want to build is $5 million when they have a $3 million budget. All those hard jobs are done by other people now in the company, which is a pretty charmed place to be.
Awesome. To give people perspective on what the Build Show network is, how big it is, have you got any statistics that you can share with us?
Yeah, what's kind of cool is we actually get more watch time on our website than our YouTube channel now, which is really cool.
Wow.
So we have 14 contributors. We're going to launch in July 2 more. So we'll have 2 brand new contributors coming on board. And stay tuned for another big announcement, probably late summer, with some additional content from some people in the industry that I don't want to say too much, but we're gonna end up probably having close to 20 new videos a week on thebuildshow.com. And always with the goal of educating. Yes, we do some sponsored content where manufacturers pay us, but we also do editorial content, and we always try to make sure that even if it is a sponsored piece, that it's a company that we trust and a product that we believe in. I think that's really been our secret to success, has been, if I wouldn't use it in my personal build, then I'm not going to make a video on it. So you're not going to see vinyl windows or products that I don't deem as being good for the industry on the Build Show. And in fact, we've gotten some cease and desist letters from those companies over the years because we'll say things about them and accidentally show their brand, and then they send us a letter from their lawyer saying, take that video down. Which, I feel like I'm doing something right if I get those about every 6 months. If I stop getting those, then I'm probably doing something wrong. But, yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying it. And ultimately, for me, there's really 2 things going on. Like, I really want to rise the standards of American homes. We've had a history of building really crappy houses in America. And so I feel like this rising tide floats all boats. And, I always think when I'm making a video, I always think of Luke and Dean when I'm making the video. Like, hey, what are some builders that are 10 years younger than me would want to know on this topic, right? You guys are probably more like 20 years younger than me. But, when I'm making a video, it needs to be helpful for the Matt Reisinger who's 43, for the Matt Reisinger who's 53 to make the video. And if I do that, even if it's a sponsored video, I think people will watch it. And so that's what I tell my contributors as well. And as a result, we kind of coined the phrase "know better, build better" this past year, and even got it trademarked. And that's exciting to me. Like, I really feel like if people do know better, they will build better. And that's true for our clients too. I mean, people don't care about fresh air unless you tell them the problems with not having fresh air and what they can have with a fresh air system. But if they don't know it, well, then they just care about how much it costs, right? But if we educate them on, here's what it can do, here's the benefits, would you rather live in a house that has a thing like this, bringing fresh air in all night long when you're 10 feet from your bed? Yes, I would like that. But look, it costs money. So let's endeavor together to build a really good house. And if we do that, guess what? We'll be able to pass these houses down to our grandchildren. And our grandchildren will thank us. They'll remodel the kitchen because it'll be outdated and have avocado colored appliances maybe. But other than that, it'll be a really well-built house. And that's what I'm talking about. That's what we need in America. And I think that's what we need in Australia too.
Yeah, I think, Matt, without you realizing, mate, you're definitely not just raising the standard of homes in America, but you're plenty of countries. I know for Australia, there's a large proportion of Australian builders and trades that know who you are and what the Build Show is doing, which is amazing. And, mate, love to just touch on quickly, won't chew up too much more of your time, but, obviously you've got a passion there to educate and to help other people. In Australia, we've got some amazing building communities and groups and coaching groups and so forth. Was there things like that in America, or is there, some bodies like that help the younger generation get on their feet, learn the ropes of business and running a contracting or building company?
Yes and no. We have a group here called the Home Builders Association of America, HBA, and I joined the HBA 20 years ago when I moved here, and met builders that were 15 years older than me, like Tim, my business partner, for instance. That's how I met him. And I had 3 builders in particular that I think of as my mentors. This guy, Ray Tonjes, Tim Hill, and Joel Katz. And I would always see them at our once a month meetings, and I had their cell numbers and their emails, and I'd be like, hey, I got a question. This stucco contractor that I'm using, I don't think he's very good. Like, how do I fire this guy? Or, I got this client that's really mad about this change order that I didn't know was going to happen. Like, what should I do? What would you do? And being able to call those older builders and really, feel like they were my older brothers and they cared about me, that was critical for me as a young builder. So, I would say if you're an older builder listening, find a younger builder that you can take to lunch once a month. Make sure you buy for him because you can't afford it either. But be available to take those calls and to encourage them. That was a really big deal for me as a young builder. And then as I got on in my career a little bit, I joined something called a Builder 20 group, which is also a group through the Home Builders Association, which is 20 builders that are in different markets around the country. It'd be like a Sydney guy, a Brisbane guy, and a Melbourne guy getting together and talking because you're not competitors. And so you can say, hey, I'm charging 15% on this. What are you charging, right? Because you're not a competitor. And that's been a really big deal. And lastly, there's a group that's part of the Build Show called Breakthrough Academy that is kind of like a paid coaching. And I wish that I had used them when I was younger. They're a terrific organization. I don't know if they operate in Australia.
For over 130 years, Bowen's has been the builder's choice, providing a service that provides timber, hardware and innovative building products.
And now we're helping you further with this wonderful partnership.
We're proud to announce Bowen's as our new premier sponsor, bringing you more of the insights that you love. Build Insight together with Bowen's.
Real people,
real insights. That's awesome, mate. I think that's been a big thing from change. I know I've been in the industry for building itself for 15 years, and 15 to maybe 8 years ago, you just think you're by yourself. You've got to just nut it out and keep pushing along. And then when you start networking, I know, like we talk YouTube, I think Instagram from an Australian point of view was a big thing. Builders starting, reaching out and, create those friendships and bonds and
Totally.
And trust within each other to share war stories, I guess, Matt, which is
Totally.
We've all been through it.
Now, Matt, I've got, before, like Dean said, we're getting close. We would let you get to bed because you got that big concrete pour in the morning. I've just got one question. How do this comes up in discussions with a lot of local guys here and watching your videos. When you start talking about your R values in your insulation, your rating system must be a hell of a lot different to ours, because you talk about like R20s all the way up to R40s and things like that. And I've had a few chats with local builders and they're like, their walls must be huge. How do they fit that much insulation there? Because we start talking like an R5, R6 bat, and that's huge to us, is 6, and you're talking about 40s. That's just down to your local rating system, obviously.
Yeah, and I can't remember that confused me when I visited too, Luke. I was like, that wall's only R3? Really? That sounds terrible. And I think I used ChatGPT to try and figure it out. And I can't remember the exact numbers, but like if you multiply your number by like 4, then I think that's equivalent to the accurate American R value. Yeah, as just a from what I remember. So yeah, your numbers sound really low, or mine sound way elevated high. But it's really we're in the same ballpark.
Gotcha.
Now, Matt, before we let you run off to bed, mate, get ready. Just to finish off, we do a little rapid fire round with 4 quick questions, mate. So
all right, let's do it.
We'll throw them at you, mate. And
they unfortunately never seem to be rapid answers though. But see how you go.
That's funny.
Kick us off, Lukey.
All right, Matt, what's the one thing that you wouldn't leave home without?
Oh, man, I have a knife and a flashlight with me at all times. I never walk out the door without a knife and a flashlight.
flow onto that, Matt. The favorite tool of all time.
Ooh, my favorite tool of all time. That's a good question. This is kind of crazy, but I have a full-size tire jack in my truck, in the bed of my truck, that I've kind of tucked away. I found one on Amazon that's aluminum, so it's slightly lighter weight, but it has saved me twice now, and I absolutely love having a full-size jack with me. It's totally the way to go. If you have a big enough truck that you can fit a full-size tire jack, you should totally have one.
There you go. I would not have picked that for a favorite tool. Favorite building product?
Gosh, that's a hard one. I mean, Huber Zip System is up there for me. It's a pretty amazing product. Definitely keep your eyes out for Dry Shell. I think Arklin, Arclin, is the parent company for that product, and I'm pretty sure they're coming to Australia. If not, they're there already. But having a solid sheathing on the outside makes waterproofing really, really easy. And so, Proclima makes some great products, but if you're just doing it to open studs, it can be kind of difficult, right? To be wavy or to make a penetration and to seal it up correctly. I would think it'd be a little more prone to damage. So having solid sheathing first and then using a Proclima type product, that might be a good semi-step for you guys. Put a 3/8 plywood down. Even if you don't need it for shear value, at least now you've got something solid to apply a peel and stick Proclima to.
We are seeing a lot more SIPs uptake in the country, but that's another conversation. We won't go down that road. But last one, Matt. One piece of wisdom every builder should hear.
Oh, I mean, I'll go back to my build show phrase, which is know better, build better. I think builders need to take education on their own and realize that whether I'm required to do this or not, I need to really get educated in what it means to build a really good house. And I would also take it upon myself. Something I think has really helped me in my career is saying, look, I'm going to build every house a little better than the last one. And that doesn't mean a lot more expensive. That doesn't mean, I'm going to put fancier countertops in or whatever. What it means is I'm going to learn something about how to build a good house, and then I'm going to implement something on this house that I haven't done before. Have I been doing sub-slab vapor barriers, or have I been doing them correctly? Well, let's do that correctly on this next job. I've been doing a really basic fresh air system. I'm going to step it up and I'm going to do a good fresh air system on this house. Whatever it is that you've learned about, make it your policy to implement that on the next build and make every build a little bit better than the last one. Because I think what people forget is that builders that have been around for 20, 30 years that have a good reputation, they got there for a reason. And one of the ways that builders earn a reputation is by building a really good house. And in theory, the car companies and manufacturers, when they have a problem with a part or with a whatever, they come out with a solution and they make it a little bit better every year. So I think we should implement. If we're building the same house we built 5 years ago, that's a problem. We shouldn't be doing that. That's how we go.
Well, it's like the definition of going insane, isn't it? Doing the same thing repeatedly, hoping for a different outcome.
100%, Luke. 100%. And we need to continually educate ourselves as well.
100%, Matt. Well, mate, we're super appreciative of you, donating your time tonight to have a chat. We will love to see you over at an expo, whether it's in Texas or Vegas or something. That's on mine and Luke's bucket list coming up. So
for sure. Luke paid me already, Dean. You didn't know? I didn't donate.
Yeah. Slipped you a couple of
Luke said, he slipped me some Vegemite packs when I left the country. So I'm paid up. I'm good to go.
Jeez, it was a cheap one. That's easy.
Well, did you try Vegemite while you were out here, Matt?
I did, and it was really not that good. I'm sorry to say.
Well, thanks so much for coming on, Matt. We really appreciate your time. Just quickly before you run off, where can people find more about? I mean, obviously we're not really promoting Reisinger Build in Australia because it's going to be pretty rare that you're going to have an Australian client. Where can people find more about Build Show Network?
Thebuildshow.com is our website. and that's a great place to go check out. And I would direct you to, for all my Australian builder friends, go check out the Build Science 101, 201, and 301 series. We have 3 now 12-part episodes, all free. That's building science education that kind of steps upon each other. And there's even a quiz that goes along with each one of the 20-minute videos. So if you watch the 20-minute video, you take a 3 or 4-part quiz. At the end of that Build Science 101 series, we'll give you a certificate if you pass your quizzes that says you're Build certified. So it's intended for everyone from high school age kids all the way up to builders like you and I that have been in the field for 20 years. I mean, it's always good to go back to the basics. I always feel like I shouldn't be too egotistical to think that I can't learn something from the basics. So, I've got a lot of builders that in the States have said, all right, guys, if you pass 101, I'm going to give you a $100 bill. And when you pass 201, I'm going to give you a $100 bill. And so they make their guys do it on their own time, outside of the clock, let's say, but this is their way to incentivize them. Like, if you do this 3-hour class on your own and you pass the test, I'll give you this $100 bill. Because we really need all of our guys to be educated in the basics of building science so that we're not just pushing the rope uphill, right? We want to be able to all be rowing the boat in the same direction and have a good building science background and education so that we know why it's important to do these things.
Well said, Matt.
That's awesome, mate. We can't wait to hear more about your new standard when it comes out as well. We'll be waiting patiently for that, mate.
Coming soon. Guys, thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. Hopefully I'll see you back in Australia in another year or two.
Sounds good, mate. Well, good luck with the concrete pour in the morning, guys. Thanks for tuning into another episode. Hope you enjoyed that. We've definitely got a lot of insights from Matt, and there's so much more you can learn over on thebuildshow.com. Thanks for listening, guys. If you want to find out more about Build Insight, head over to buildinsight.com.au. Insight is INSITE, as well as regular updates over on our Instagram and our YouTube channel as well. Thanks again, guys. We hope you enjoyed the episode. We'll catch you on the next one.
We just need to say a massive thank you to our sponsors and supporters. Without them, Build Insight wouldn't be possible. So to Bowens, Circuit Studio, Wonderbuild, Goop Guys, Calorie Building, and Backman Builders, thank you very much. We look forward to seeing you again next week.
Let's cue the disclaimer. I need to let you know that myself and the Build Insight team are in no way, shape or form qualified to give you personal or specific business advice. We strongly encourage you seek out the use of professionals for products or when you are making personal or business decisions. Everything discussed during the Build Insight podcast is our own and the guest opinion and personal experience and is of a general nature only. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Catch you on the next one.